یه فرصت خوب حالا پشت مدافع خداداد عزیزی توی دروازه گل گل برای ایران خداداد عزیزی باز هم روی زمین گشت سردار بود و توی دروازه سردار بود گل به نام آزمونده برای ایران بزنه کریم انصاری گل توی دروازه کریم انصاری دروازه پرتغال باز شد علی دایی سام توپ توی دروازه گل اشتباه حرکت از کوچان نژاد فرصت برای کوچان نژاد توی دروازه گل برای ایران.
Welcome back to Go Bezan. My name is Samson Tamijani, editing. I'm also the de facto host, I guess co-host, co-panelist for this episode. We are back like Moganlu, recording no stats. We haven't recorded stats in a few weeks. We wanted to record an episode earlier, but yeah, this was the earliest we could get. If you're in the U.S. listening, maybe traveling back from the holiday weekend, we appreciate you giving us a listen or watch on YouTube. And be sure to like, share, and comment on this as well. That really helps out our exposure. Anyway, I have with me the OGs, Arya Allahverdi. Arya, what's up?
Good, thank you very much. Appreciate it.
And of course, the Dubai boy wonder, Erfan Hoseiny, representing for Esteghlal as always. Erfan, what's up?
Yeah, I'm good. Happy to be back on again.
Yeah, we have, I mean, looking back at a lot of nostalgia this week, you know, at least in the US, a lot of people spend time with their family. They have work off, they have school off, Thanksgiving week. And it's also the anniversary of a few cool things in Iranian football history. We have the 97 games, the playoff for the World Cup, 98 qualifiers against Australia, in which Iran, the Melbourne Miracle, you know, going down 2-0 and drawing up. In fact, you just heard in our intro the Kholda Azizi goal. That's what that's from, just in case you are not an old timer like a lot of us. But yeah, and also the 2-year anniversary of the proudest moment in Erfan's life of Rouzbeh Cheshmi getting the winner against Wales. I know Erfan was posting a lot about that on Twitter. Erfan, honestly, the two main people you need to follow on Twitter is Go Bezan and Erfan Hoseiny. So yeah, Erfan, I know you weren't alive for the 97 games, but the Cheshmi goal you were. I mean, you're getting a lot of exposure for those, man.
Yeah, honestly, it probably was one of the best moments of my life. And just especially after all the criticism he got after the first game, for him to come on and produce one of the best moments in Iranian football history, just I don't know what to say.
Well, and we got we got a return of Cheshmi in the last international window as well. We got to see him for a few minutes, and you know, Arya is the real student of the game here because he's in this panel and he's also watching AC Milan right now, and he also did the commentary. Arya also did the commentary for that Cheshmi winner for, I think it was like Canadian broadcasting 2 years ago. If you go back, if you remember, or if you haven't listened to those episodes, go back and give that a listen. It's a good nostalgia punch right there, Arya. But yeah, we saw Cheshmi come back again. Arya, you're not his biggest fan, but there's a lot to get to in this regardless, including Iran being ranked number 18 in the world now. Like, where did that come from? The FIFA points added up really well for Iran, and next thing you know, as many complaints and critiques as we may have, it's also a good opportunity for me to troll my Mexican friends because Iran jumped Mexico in the rankings. So, Arya, should we look too much into that, or I mean, just what does that mean to Iranian fans?
I mean, look, FIFA rankings to me are kind of, they don't make a lot of sense. I've never really understood them, really. I mean, you know, there was a time where like Belgium were like one of the top teams in the world and they didn't win anything. So I can't put FIFA rankings. FIFA rankings really really are just there for like draws and group stages. That other than that, really they don't mean anything. I think it's just a way to flex, or for the staff members or for the federations to kind of say, "Oh, we're doing a good job," for example. Really doesn't really mean anything, in my opinion.
Erfan, it helps with internet exposure, I guess, but is that a fluke, do you think?
Um, Maybe it's more that it's lucky. I wouldn't say it's a fluke because with the FIFA rankings, they don't consider how a team plays. It's just the result and the competition and the ranking of the opposition. So when you factor these things, yeah, it makes sense because Iran has been playing, you could say, lower tier side. So it does help in that case. But yeah, it does make sense in a way that it's just calculations.
Also add on the ELO rankings, they're like known as the kind of de facto like better ones over FIFA in terms of like how they do it. Iran are also 18th, Belgium are 17th. So it's like the teams are a little bit better kind of placed out, but Iran are also 18th. So I think results perspective, um, yeah, it's probably correct when you look at it.
Yeah, and the results are there. Maybe the beauty points are not there. So let's get to that then. Let's get to the fat Persian cheetah in the room to discuss this. The last international window, 3-2 victory over North Korea and Kyrgyzstan. The results are there. The play maybe not so much. So just was this a matter of frustration or relief, or don't worry about it because results are coming no matter what. We can't help who we have to play against, but we get the results anyway. So I want to leave that open-ended. What should we get out of the way and let people know about these results?
I'll let Erfan start.
Yeah. So when you look at the results, yeah, two away wins. Usually, it will be good results, especially when you look at other groups and you see the other top teams maybe struggling against the lower tier sides. But it's the fact that we were in control of the games that's the problem. And I wouldn't say it's a mentality issue. I would just say the defense is bad, to be honest. And it's the fact that whenever there's a little bit of pressure on our defense, they get exposed very easily and they get lost. And I think that's the main problem with the team right now.
I think our biggest issue defensively is when it comes to the complacency of the team. A lot of times we do great going forward. We score goals. We have those vertical plays. We manage to get the ball in the box and score goals. We're actually creating chances. I've not had much bad to say about the way we're scoring goals and attacking and the score lines speak for themselves. We scored 3 goals in the last 2 games. We scored 4 goals against Qatar. That's quite a good number of goals, I'm just not happy with the way we're setting up defensively. For instance, against North Korea, we were second best to every loose ball. We weren't imposing ourselves aggressively on the game. A lot of times where North Korea really shouldn't be winning the ball from us, they were always first to it. Any kind of like anything that was a duel, it seemed like they were always gonna be the winners in those duels. Especially in the second half. When it came to the Kyrgyzstan game, exactly the same thing. A lot of the times where, although we were winning the game, it just seemed like we'd taken our foot off the gas. And I don't know if that comes back to coach. Go on, Erfan, you're going to say something.
I agree with you there. Duels, especially, very crucial. And in the Kyrgyzstan game, we saw how insane that first Kyrgyz goal was. I mean, the ball is literally in the air. There's 4 or 5 Iranian defenders there, and not one of them is properly marking Joe Kojo, and he wins that duel and scores a goal just like that. And it was a very dumb goal to concede.
It was hilarious how, sorry, Samson. It was hilarious how Kojo was like was actually toying with our defense. Like like they were afraid to put a tackle in. Now, from a defensive setup perspective, I don't feel like we did ourselves a lot of favors because if you look at the way the team was set up, it was quite attacking. And then when he wanted to make a change in the second half, he took off. I believe he took off one of our. I think he took off Gaidi and brought on Goalies, if I'm not mistaken. Did he keep the two strikers on the pitch at the time? I think he kept Osman and Taremi on the pitch for a portion of the game when really there was no need to have two strikers on the pitch. You could have just taken one of them off. So we didn't do a lot of favors in that front. And then to concede two goals back to back in both games tells me that whatever happened again in the North Korea game, again when it comes to duels, when it comes to being strong in 1v1 situations, being strong in even stronger in situations where the team is outnumbered. Like there were instances in the North Korea game where we were outnumbered or like we were 3 against 2, with the North Koreans having an advantage numerically. We still looked like we were amateurish defensively. And if you look at most teams in Europe who, when you defend in numerical disadvantages, when you've got less players against a bigger number of players going forward, they still tend to do quite well because they've got this balance, this structure in their team, whereas Iran don't seem to have that defensively.
Let's keep in
Yeah,
mind. Sorry, Erfan. Just 1 second. Let's keep in mind just the personnel, and the adjustments that came in. It was Omi Norafkan for Hardani. It was Cheshmi for Ezutulahi. It was Gorbani for Mohammed Karimi. Hossein Zadeh for Sardar, and Gayadi, as you said, for Golizadeh. Was there? And again, these are all very reactive. This is after things started going haywire. And to your point, Arya, this Kojo guy, there's a reason why he didn't stick in his main cuts. There's a reason why he was brought to Kyrgyzstan. And there's a reason why he stayed in playing in Uzbekistan and now I guess playing in Iran because he punks the Iranian defense so much. Erfan, why is that? What are the X's and O's side to Iran finding themselves so challenged by um, players like that in the second half?
like I said, I think it is a defensive structure. It's just the fact that I don't think Iran get challenged much in until the second half because there's no real opportunities really for both North Korea and Kyrgyzstan in the first half. We saw we had good control of the games. We were passing the ball around very well, especially in that North Korea game. I mean, when we saw those three goals go in, we're like, okay, this is going to be an easy win. But in the second game and the second half, I mean, they just let the other team take control of the game, and they thought, oh, okay, maybe we can go back and try to defend. But that's the problem right there. We can't defend for some reason.
And one key was spacing. There was a lot more space on the top of the box. The defending third, we just gave a lot more respect to these guys, and I think that's why people like us get so
Yeah.
frustrated because we're thinking, why are we respecting these opponents so much as they're pressing forward? They have no talent to contend with
Hmm.
what we perceive as professional defenders.
I think Osmond said it really well in one of the post-match interviews. He said, we are getting complacent. We aren't giving the teams the respect that they deserve. I don't know if it was that kind of in the right words, but it was along those lines what he said, and I think he's absolutely right. And I think the truth is, um, looking at players like Ali Nemmati, who he did well in his first game when he came in. He looked like a decent defender, solid enough. But slowly but surely in these last couple of games, he showed that he's just not up to scratch in terms of building the right structure in that defense. You look at a guy like Khalilzadeh, who for me isn't a bad defender necessarily, but he's very erratic. He doesn't seem like he's an experienced player. He seems like a guy who is 21 years old playing with not a lot of experience, but a lot of talent. That's what Khalilzadeh seems like to me. He seems like an unexperienced player who's talented. That's what he plays like. So when you have a player like that, um, for me, you've got to have somebody next to him who can be level-headed, can be solid, can break up play when it's required. Obviously, he got the red card. Now you can always argue what that was, whether it was a red card, whether it wasn't. I do think it was a red card. I think there was some contact there which led to the red card happening, and it could have ended in a goal. So regardless, I don't think Ali Mati is experienced enough to play alongside a guy like Khalid the long term. Now, does that mean you bring in a Hasbavi who's also very inexperienced? Probably not in some aspects, but then I think Hasbavi is a much better defender than Ali Mati. So, I do understand, his his selection in the sense that he wants to bring in a new player to see how he gets on. But really, he should just be sticking to the Kanoni Khalid combination that worked so well in the previous qualification of the last World Cup. If that's I know Kanoni's not been in great form, but
And
in my
Shoja.
opinion, and Choja, but that's the in my opinion that's the only way you can go forward.
Well, let me ask Hasbavi himself. Erfan, what is missing? He's laughing. He doesn't want to show, but he's laughing. Erfan, what tactically? We talk about the criticism, what we don't like about Gallinoi all the time. Tactically, what needs to change? What is missing in each position group? What needs to change so that we don't find ourselves in this position each time? What position group? Defenders, midfield, attackers. What needs to change in each side?
Um, okay, so I would say I've been less critical of Karnoy than most other guys, most other Team Melli fans overall. But when there are problems, I have to say them. I mean, I'll start from the positions. The defense. This is, I would say, our worst position overall. I mean, both the center backs and the full backs are facing issues. And like you said, the spacing, they don't know the positioning, especially they don't know where to be at times. Sometimes they're too far forward, and sometimes they're too far back, filling up the offside positions, which is a very, very big mistake, especially for these players who most of them are very experienced. The midfield also. I mean, it's usually Ezdullahi and Karimi right now. And I don't know. I mean, Ezdullahi, obviously, I would say he's one of our players who's always guaranteed to start, even though he is playing in the UAE. Very top quality midfielder. But I don't know if Karimi is the right guy to be with him. And I think we need to find someone who can maybe step back a little bit over Ezdullahi, because when Ezdullahi goes forward sometimes, we need someone to stay back. But for the attack, um, I'll say I don't think we have any problems in attack for now. Before we had the finishing issue, but I would say over the past few months, they've taken care of that, and it's just those two positions.
I think with Karimi, he seems like a decent footballer. Like he can pass the ball well, he can do kind of the basics well. I just don't think he plays with enough character. He doesn't have a lot of character. It doesn't seem like he plays with a lot of desire and like I'm not trying to bash his mentality. I think he's a strong-willed player for sure, but he doesn't play with character. He doesn't seem like a guy who wants to take control of the game like a Salman Ghoddos or like a Taimourian or like a Javanbakhsh, the players who really want to impact the game and the midfield role in that team Melli setup is so important. Whereas I don't think a player just who's just good at passing the ball, who's just good at technical ability is enough for this midfield. It needs to be somebody who can really impact the game from a really put emphasis on the game.
So looking forward though, who is missing from some of these starting lineups or key subs? Are there any players where specifically you think could fill a good gap, like a Syed Manish, Kaveh, Hasafi, Hoseiny getting more minutes? Do any of those stick out?
For me, Jabba was injured for sure. But I think Erfan, did you want to say something?
Yeah, I just want to say I agree 100% on your Karimi point because I watched the PGPL and he's one of my favorite midfielders in the league. But I just don't think he's the right man to be starting for Team Melli.
He's not a bad player. Like he's showing some good things, and I'm not trying to say he should never start, but to be a starter regularly, I understand obviously someone was unavailable these two games, so okay, you bring him in, but I still don't think he should be starting. I think a guy like Hoseiny really should be starting. Like, I don't see how you could start Karimi over Jawad personally. He wouldn't start over him in my opinion, in a club team. He might. I know they were teammates at Sepan, but and I know he maybe did play over him. But I think today, as of today, like if they were in the same team at the club, they shouldn't be starting. You know, Karimi would be nowhere near Jabba, in my opinion.
Yeah, and for me, I'd say that the players who are missing from the team or from the lineup, but the Orenburg boys, I think Horbani and Sahizan should be playing more. I know Horbani has played more. I think he started one game, the first game against Kyrgyzstan as well. But yeah, especially Sahizan. I mean, he was just called up for the first time in these qualifiers this month, but unfortunately, we didn't get to see him play. And I know we have good strikers already, but we have to be thinking of the future. Taremi and Osman are not always going to be there, so I wanted to see him play.
By the way, does Zahidi still is he still on another planet? Do we not care about him in Japan? We've gotten Mohib back, but does that mean he's just like washed? Like no, we don't need to care about him anymore, or what?
He
No,
played last night, yeah.
yeah,
Sorry, Arya. Yeah, he
go on.
played last night, but he's not in the same form as he was when he first joined the league. So yeah.
Okay, just want to get that out of the way. One position where we have not talked about is the goalkeeper. Baron Von, he is the last man before these garbage goals have gotten in. Is there a conversation about him? Some people are thinking that he's now washed. Do we consider him washed now? Do we need fresh
Yeah,
faces?
we always bring up this goalkeeping conversation every few podcasts, and the truth is like. I don't know. Like the truth is, it's so hard to put your finger on it because Hoseiny was in form last season. Now you've got Bayron Van not playing so well. You had Arbetzade for a little while. He was in form. Now he's not playing in like a great league. Or you've got players like Niaz Man who is always in and out. Like this goalkeeping conversation just bores me to death. Like because none of these players can keep a run of form where it's like, yeah, this guy's the best keeper. So I just get bored of it. Like it's just so tiring. I think if you go back to all of our podcasts, I swear to God, we've spoken about this goalkeeping situation like a million times, and it's like every time I've spoken about it, it's been someone else who's been in form. Like one time it was Ahmedzade, like I was dead keen on him, and then it was Bayram, and then it was Hoseiny quite recently, and now it's like I don't even know who's in form anymore.
Well, the younger keeper, Erfan, help me out on this. What is it?
Oh, it's just
Shakuri or Khalifa, which one?
Yeah.
They're both
Well,
in good form,
who
I'd
is
say.
the younger one who just saved a bunch of penalties?
Abbasi in Fulad, I think you're talking about, right?
The he's like a on the younger side. Yeah. So are there any younger ones we can look forward to? Because these goalkeepers right now, all the ones that we just talked about, are getting kind of ancient. They're getting kind of up there. Not
Yeah.
necessarily totally too old, but they're not exactly up and coming either. They're not exactly reaching their peak.
Yeah, so yeah, you're talking about Armin Abbasi. He played for the Persepolis U20s I think last season, but he's playing with Fulad now. And in the cup recently, there was a penalty shootout, and the guy saved five penalties, which I know the opposition was a second division side, but still to save five penalties in a shootout, and it was like five out of six or seven penalties as well. So it was not like it was a long penalty shootout. So I think that's a good quality to have. Behram used to save penalties a bit less now. And speaking of Behram, yeah, I agree. I do think that it's just going down for him, even at Teraktor. Just a few days ago, he conceded three against Al Wakra, and some of those goals were very savable. And yeah, it's just a big issue. And I would say the best keeper we still have right now is Hoseiny. I think he has the most saves in the Champions League elite. So he's doing very well, but still it's a problem.
And
yeah, but
historically, go ahead, Arya.
the thing is like he called up Arsha Shakuri to the Team Melli squad, and it's like we all knew why he called him up. Like I've said this a million times. It was clearly because he wanted to bring down the average age. Now, if he had actually played Arsha Shakuri for one of these games, like without a doubt, he may have made a couple of mistakes, but it would have been so much more beneficial for the team going forward. But the truth is, we speak about young players. Samson, you're asking about young players. Like, mate, he isn't even playing young players who should be starting. Like he shouldn't. There's players who should be starting in other positions who aren't even getting a chance. So how can we expect guys like Erfan, guys like Hoseiny, who have experience under their belt, World Cup experience, to even get close to getting displaced? There's no chance in hell any of those three, and Niazman included, will get displaced because they have the so-called experience. So if you can't play a guy like Javanbakhsh from even the bench, you're not even bringing him on, well then I would I would completely take your mind off and bring in a young goalkeeper in. You know what I mean?
Yeah, sorry, I just wanted to correct myself earlier. I said the goalie's name was Armin Abbas. It was Adib Zare. So I just want to correct myself there.
Well, Erfan, we'll give you a chance to redeem
Terrible
yourself.
from you, Erfan.
Yeah, no, we're gonna give him a chance to redeem himself by giving us an update on Asian Champions League. Now, shifting gears a little bit, what are some of the main things to take away? Because I read that it wasn't a particularly exciting weekend for Esteghlal recently. But what else is going on? Erfan, kind of bring us up to date with that.
Yeah, yes, apologies for that again. I made a list of me and one of my friends, Armin, made a list of the 50 best youngsters in Iran, and we had both of those keepers included, so I just confused them really quick. You guys should check that list out. I think it's really
I
interesting.
I had no idea who that guy even was. So if you had said Armin Abbasi or whoever, I would have agreed with you anyway. I think Samson's just left, by the way, so we'll just keep talking until he joins back in. But on you go.
No, I'm here. My connection is not consistent, but I want to let Erfan finish his point.
Yeah, okay. So I'll start off with the AFC Champions League Elite games. Esteghlal took on Pakhtakor, the Uzbek side, who are not in good form at all, in Dubai in a neutral venue. And they drew 0-0. Esteghlal were the better side. They had more of the chances. And it seems like they are getting better under Pizzo Mosimane, but their attack, man, oh God, it's very bad. It's horrible. And I haven't seen Estaghal's attack be this bad in a very long time. So if they want to qualify for the next stage, they need to sort that out. And there are rumors of them signing one or two new foreign strikers, so hopefully that would help them out. Yeah, they currently sit seventh, and the top eight qualify, so they are still in the qualification position, but they have a hard game coming up against Al Ahly of Saudi. Persepolis are in a much worse position because they still haven't played the two Saudi giants, Al Nassr and Al Hilal. And they took on Aryan recently in Qatar, and they drew 1-1. They took the lead, courtesy of Farshad Faraji, his second goal of the competition. But uh, Aryan equalized the second half. That's the second time. That's the third time actually in this ACL season that Persepolis draw after leading. So yeah, they still remain winless and sit ninth. Moving on to the ACL 2, Traktor and Sepahan are in two very different positions. Traktor are guaranteed first place in the group. They finished all their group stage games. And yeah, they won three games, drew one, the last one against Al Wakra. Yeah, very good from them so far. Hopefully, they can continue and do well in the knockout stages, especially with Iranian teams likely getting their hosting rights back. Stepan, on the other hand, very disappointing. They only got 1 point in two games against Jordanian side Al Wahdat, and especially the last game, which they drew 1-1 against them. If they lost that game, they would have been out completely. And it's weird because they beat Sharjah, who are one of the best sides of the UAE, but they couldn't beat the Jordanian side. So very disappointing from them. I know they're going through a managerial change, and then maybe it's that, but you should still be beating a team from Jordan, with all due respect to them, of course. So they play against Istiklal of Tajikistan away in the last game, and they have to win that game if they want any chance to qualify, and they have to hope that Sharjah lose away to Al-Wahdat.
By the way, if anyone watching this has any thoughts or feedback regarding ACL or even PGPL, be sure to tweet at us or Instagram, whatever, and we'll get or interact with Erfan. We'll have a good dialogue on that because no one studies these matches better than Erfan in those news. The other news recently we do want to bring up is the Asian Cup U20 happening in February. Iran was just drawn into a group with Uzbekistan, Indonesia, and Yemen. Just initial thoughts from that because it's not until February, but just initial reaction. This, and especially with the coach Hoseiny, Erfan.
Yeah, the group stage draw is good. A favorable side, favorable sides that we're playing. But the problem here is the knockout stage because in Group D, we have both South Korea and Japan. So we're going to be playing one of South Korea and Japan most likely for that spot, for that World Cup spot, because you need to make the semifinals to qualify for the U20 World Cup. So yeah, we should expect a difficult game in the quarterfinals.
All right.
That's going to be interesting. Hopefully,
Yeah.
something good will happen right in these games.
Back to the Team Melli picture, or at least the players. We do want to bring up just Legionnaire updates. Obviously we see Taremi in the Champions League, and that's good. He had just a pretty decent showing. I mean, and again with Internacional, he plays more up with Team Melli. He has to play more from the back. It does annoy me a lot because he doesn't get a chance to really. He doesn't play comfortable with Team Melli as opposed to when he is getting his minutes with Inter. But that being said, he hasn't been able to really blow up with Inter, not a whole lot of playing time. But just in general, in addition to Taremi, what are some of the storylines we're noticing out of Legionnaires right now, guys? Arya, I'll let you go first.
Well, I mean, with Taremi, of course, first of all, Inter are unfortunate to say from an AC Milan fan, one of the top teams in the Champions League, so they're doing quite well. So I don't think they really need to have Taremi playing regularly for them. And then Goiza is starting to score goals in Poland, which is good to see. I don't know. He didn't play too badly for Iran the last couple of games. Last time he played, but I think it's good to see him slowly get into the kind of place of form where he should be. Obviously the boys in Russia are kind of are still doing good things. I think some of the goals have kind of dried up a little bit, but hopefully those come back. I do want to see more from uh, some of the players like Javanbakhsh, who now is moved to Netherlands, not more the experienced players who have played for the national team for a good number of years. Javanbakhsh obviously didn't feature in the last two matches, if I'm not mistaken, which is actually good to see. Good to see. I don't think he deserves to start or play. But having said that, Salman Ghoddos, Osman, these players we still expect a lot from them. So yeah, hopefully they continue on their form. I think the main one that a lot of people are asking about is the dual nationals, which we'll come on to in a second. There's always a discussion about them, whether guys like Zahiroleslam will get called. Zahiroleslam is injured now. He's injured until he's got a hamstring injury. He told me this morning he's injured and he'll be back in the new year, so he missed the rest of the year. In time for Thanksgiving, so gets to have a little bit of a break. So yeah, yeah. Overall, there's not really much else to speak about with this Legionnaires unless Erfan, you have anything to add.
Yeah, I'll add one thing about the boys in the UAE. Osman just doing very well, which is expected. But yeah, I would say he's kind of regained form, and I don't know. I think a part of me prefers this Osman than the Osman sitting on the bench and not playing at all in either Roma or Leverkusen. Maybe it's the fact that his stadium is right next to my my home, so I can see him play whenever I want. But yeah, I would say that this is probably better than that. Oh
But
yeah, I think you want to add something.
can you interview him whenever you want? That's the question.
That's what I want to know.
I don't know. We'll see. We'll see about that.
No, I mean, I think Erfan's being a little easier on Osmoon lately because he's actually hanging out with him. He just doesn't want to admit it. Uh,
Um, yeah,
um,
Haswag and Osman. I mean, great friends.
yeah, no kidding. Well, I mean, I don't know if you guys are best friends because I'm not seeing Hasbavi and Erfan in the same room together because Erfan is secretly disguised as him. He's secretly Hasbavi. Um, but that leads us winding down into our final segment, guys. It is Thanksgiving weekend in the U.S. And I always like to bring up these kind of conversations, especially because we've had so much kind of complaints to bring out with Team Melli, despite good results on paper. We have so many critiques, but I do want to give a chance to let you guys say what you're thankful for with Iranian football as of late, or just in general. I'll go first. If you guys hadn't seen this video going around the last few days, right before Estoglal's last match, Pizzo Masumane talked and exchanged pleasantries with Coach Mohajerani, of course, the legendary manager that led Team Melli to the first appearance at the 1978 World Cup, beat Australia on the way in doing so, by the way. And that was just really awesome to see them speaking with each other. Massive respect he has. One or two voices say that Masmani needs to be the next Team Elite coach, but we're a long way from that. But I thought that was just fantastic to see. Good, two very respected coaches, one African football, now in Asia, and then obviously Mohajirani. The OGs remember him very well. But I'll let you guys go next. Anything that you were especially thankful for?
So yeah, like you mentioned, Pizzo Mosimane, I'm very thankful for the guy. I mean, I love his idea of football, and the fact that he saw that the team wasn't playing well with these experienced players, so he just put the young players in, and he's going in and scouting all these youth games himself, which is very rare in Iranian football. But yeah, also brings me to my point. The league is starting to play younger players, which I'm very excited for. I think yeah, Malavan with Maziar Zara started this trend, and I'm happy that the other teams are following it. We're seeing more and more U23 players start and get more minutes, which gives me hope for the league, especially with also the facilities kind of improving. You could say the teams are standardizing their pitches after after lots of criticism, and VAR is now there in every game, so it gives me hope, and yeah, I'm thankful for that.
Yeah, actually, just on Mosimane, I actually think he wants the Team Melli job actually, and I wouldn't be surprised if he is the next man who gets it. Should Gallinari leave at any point, I could see him. I think he wants it because he was in the Team Melli camp as well recently. He kind of showed up. I think he wants a job. I think he will be considered for it. And I think the way they gave it to Skocic, it was so random, just gave it to him, like it was out of nowhere. I could see them giving it to a guy like Mosimane for sure. What am I thankful for? Really, I mean, at the moment, I'm thankful for obviously the qualification to the World Cup being as easy as it is. Because
Boo!
well, I mean, I say that because I actually don't think we would be qualifying that easily should it have been a bit harder. I'm thankful for that because I don't think it would be as easy should it have been the previous format. And I'm also thankful for the fact that even though we're not bringing in young players, we're not really playing them. I'm still thankful that a lot of the old guard, Osman Taremi, Izzatullahi, Milad Mohammadi, did so well in the last couple of games. Obviously, maybe not Bayron Van, but a few other players, are doing well, and
Tertiary.
they're still doing well, and they're still not kind of giving up. I enjoy seeing that, like players like Javanbakhsh still, trying to keep himself in Europe. It gives me kind of hope that the players haven't given up on their side of things. So yeah, I'm thankful for that the players at least have a bit of faith in Iranian football. Yeah, because I think it's quite easy to give up on this team. It really is. It would be for a lot of fans, not because we're getting good results. Well, we're getting good results. We're going to get to the World Cup quite easily. But it would be easy to give up on this team based on the performances, and they're not. So it's good to see that things are kind of heading in the right direction with this coaching staff in terms of when we go to the World Cup in 2 years in 2 years time. I still believe this team can um can perform adequate. I don't know if we're going to perform well. I don't think we are. Well, I think we'll perform okay. But it's defense needs to get sorted. That's the only thing I'll say.
I think Arya is also thankful for the Americans with AC Milan right now, Pulisic and Musa. They're doing okay right now. Both starting. Milan's up.
Yeah, we're winning 1-0. Oh, it's nearly 2-0. No, we're winning 1-0. Pulisic's a fantastic player. I think he was always underrated as a footballer, and since he's come to Milan, he's been absolutely tremendous.
Well, he got a good knock from Baron Vaughn, but got the U.S. past Iran 2 years ago, almost exactly. So he's definitely in our minds no matter what, and he's going to be leading them in the 2026 World Cup. We just I better hope we don't find a Pochettino peaked U.S. team in the same group as us in the next time. But anyway, that's going to do it for this episode, guys. Please give us a comment on YouTube, a like, a subscribe, share the word this holiday season. If you're in the Western countries, share the word of Go Bezan. We always appreciate it. We're continuing to do a lot of work, still trying to get more interviews, and we will be getting that as more events happen, more youth World Cups, and so on and so forth. And we're doing good. Our members are doing good work, and continuing to push out good content for everyone. So on behalf of Erfan and Arya, thanks again, and I'll let you guys say a good little goodbye, and then we'll head out.
Yeah, happy Thanksgiving to all the American listeners. I know we've got a majority of our listeners out in the States. So yeah, happy Thanksgiving. Hopefully it's great for you and your families, and appreciate all the support.
Yeah, happy Thanksgiving to all the Iranian Americans following us, and all Americans overall, actually, if we do have any listeners.
My name is Zahiroleslam, and I'm playing for Sint-Truiden in the Belgian Pro League, and you're listening to Go Bezan podcast.